By Monday, the U.S. could enact tariffs on one of its largest trading partners. President Trump and the Trump administration say these tariffs are a way to pressure Mexico to secure its border. But some U.S. lawmakers, including Representative Mike Levin, say these tariffs would actually hurt U.S. consumers. Representative Levin, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So, are there enough votes in Congress to possibly block these tariffs?
Well, that's a great question. You know, if you listen to the president, he says that Kevin McCarthy and the GOP in the House is with him all the way. That's what the president tweeted recently. And I really don't understand that. You know, if Kevin McCarthy really wants to represent the interests of Californians, he does have a district in California, he would recognize the tremendous damage that these tariffs would do to the state of California. You know, we import $44 billion a year in goods from Mexico. And starting on Monday, we're going to have hundreds of millions of dollars a month. And as the tariffs increase from 5 to 10, 15, 20, all the way up to 25%, by October, $913 million will be the impact just in October alone on California. Of course, here in San Diego, in our region, we have a tremendous relationship with Mexico as it pertains to trade and economic development. According to the San Diego Chamber of Commerce, it would cost our local community, our local region, $1 billion a year. So this is absolutely wrong. It's going to hurt California consumers, San Diego consumers, and businesses as well. There was a recent report that said it could cost 400,000 plus jobs a year. So this is just wrong-headed, and for Kevin McCarthy or any other member, Republican member from the California congressional delegation to support these measures is highly irresponsible. And I think they have to decide, do they want to support President Trump or do they want to support the state of California, because there's really no middle ground.
And you represent District 49. Have you been hearing from industries there? What are people telling you? What industries in your district will be hit the hardest?
I haven't met or spoken to a single business leader, and I try to speak to people across all different types of political backgrounds and really all different parts of my district, Republicans and Democrats alike. And I haven't met a single business person or business owner that wants to see these tariffs come into effect. So for the president to say that the Republicans in Congress are with him all the way, I can tell you that the residents of the 49th District are not with him all the way. They do not want to see these tariffs. They're highly irresponsible, and they'll hurt the California economy.
And what about the president's argument that Mexico is not doing enough to secure the border?
Well, I think we have to work on bipartisan, comprehensive immigration reform. There are proposals that are out there from the last Congress. They're still there today. I speak with my friends across the aisle. They want to see that as well. And, you know, we just passed the Dream and Promise Act in the House this past week, H.R. 6, to provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers, many of whom have been here since they were young children. That clearly doesn't go far enough. But we did get 7 Republicans to support us on that bill. And we got every single Democrat in the House to support that bill. In the last Congress, the 115th Congress, there were broad bipartisan efforts to have a comprehensive immigration package. I'd like to see those discussions start anew. We do need to have a discussion about border security. That's why when the shutdown ended, if you'll recall, when we passed the package to actually end the shutdown, we provided over $450 million for humanitarian assistance and hundreds of millions more for border security as part of that package. I visited the Port of San Ysidro. I've spoken to the acting Customs and Border Protection head, Sanders, and I'm hopeful that we're going to have a immigration policy that treats people with dignity and humanity. And I asked a very tough question of Director Sanders, which was, could he assure me that there would not be another unnecessary death of a child separated from their family? He assured me, he promised me that they would do everything that they could to prevent that from happening, but we need to hold them to account because we have to treat people with decency and respect, and I am concerned that that's not happening.
Can we move on now to San Onofre, which is in your district? You've made it a priority, even forming a task force and proposing recent legislation which would address the spent nuclear fuel storage concerns there. Since taking office, do you feel more at ease about the safety on that site or less?
I did propose legislation that would prioritize the movement of waste in any area that has higher population density or has higher risks of earthquakes. We know from San Onofre that we have 8.3 million people within a 50-mile radius, and we also have 2 active earthquake faults and a whole network of inactive earthquake faults. Also very important is that I just got $25 million in the House Appropriations package. This is something that we've been working for quite some time to do, but it hasn't happened. But now we have that $25 million for consolidated interim storage. The key is not only getting the waste off the coast, but also having somewhere to send it and having a means to get it there.
And when hearing from the experts as part of that task force, were you reassured about the safety of the site? What is prompting you to want to speed up the process?
Well, I think the situation is not perfect, and far from it. In fact, you've got 1,600 tons of radioactive material that are being stored in canisters. Those canisters themselves have had issues, and I have concerns, as we all should, particularly when you have active earthquake faults and you have 8 million people within 50 miles, and when you have a strategic asset of the United States military in Camp Pendleton right across the freeway. You need to get the waste, the nuclear waste, off the coast and away from that strategic asset of the military. That is why I think an interim storage facility, in the absence of a permanent facility like Yucca Mountain, we do need to move to an interim site. My own thinking over the last couple of years, as I've gotten a whole variety of briefings from the experts, has continued to evolve, but I think it's really critical that we have an interim site and that we have a transportation plan and that we do it safely, that we transport the waste safely. So I'm concerned about the canisters. I'm concerned about the near drop of a canister. Last August, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission actually fined Edison, Southern California Edison, that owns the majority of the plant, $116,000. I've called for an inspector as well, for a full-time inspector, because currently there is no full-time inspector. They have done a better job of examining the canisters that are on the site with cameras that are designed to be able to tell if there are microscopic scratches or gouges that potentially lead to brittleness and cracking of the canisters. So there is a transparency and accountability that we've been moving towards. I'm encouraged by a lot of that. I've got a number of constituents that are scientists and engineers who are very active and involved in this. And then, of course, Admiral Herring, as co-chair of the task force, whose job used to be to transport, among other things, nuclear material for the Navy. So we've got a great number of resources and a great desire to see this move off the coast. We just want to do it as quickly and as safely as possible.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.